what you don't know about pricing that's costing you time, money, and peace. Hi, my name is Michael Gray. I'm a real estate agent in Colorado Springs. I help you get your home sold as quickly as possible for as much money as possible with as much peace as is possible. So we're going to talk about pricing. When it comes to selling your house, price is all that matters. There you have it. Here's the whole video for you. Well, that's not entirely true. But pricing is the most important factor for how quickly your home sells and for how much your home sells for. And both of those things will have a direct impact on your peace and on your peace of mind. See, price directly impacts the number of showings. The number of showings is connected to the number of offers you get. And we all know that multiple offers usually means a better return. Price is also the leading factor in your days on market, which dramatically impacts the final price. I want you to remember that longer equals less. The longer your house sits on the market, the less you are going to get for it in the end. And your goal is to get your house in the market so it sells, not on the market so it's for sale. In a report in April of 2026, NAR, which is the National Association of Real Estate Agents, stated that an average homes on the market 31 to 60 days closed 7.3% lower than asking. 61 to 90 days closed 90% lower than asking. 91 to 120 days, 10.6% lower than asking. And 120 days or more, you're going to lose 14% or more over asking. So this is how it plays out. Your agent wants to talk pricing, but there's this gap between what you think it's worth and what they think it's worth. And you say something like, why can't we just try the higher price for a few weeks? The agent who is desperate for the listing and doesn't want to offend and is trying to get it says, yeah, we could try that, even though everything in them knows professionally that's the wrong answer. It's not the best strategy. So in the end, they go with it. And then your house, priced wrong, sits on the market for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And you miss the most effective time to sell your house for the most money possible and the most peace possible as all that time passes simply because they were afraid to tell you the truth. See, here's the truth. If a house is priced too high, you lose time, you lose money, you lose peace. If a house is priced right, you get more showings. That leads to it selling faster, but also sometimes multiple offers, which gets you a better price in the end. But you know, when it comes to pricing, we have a lot of feelings. Feelings about the price, feelings about the home, what we paid for it. We worked on it, the life that we lived there, what some online company who's never walked through it said it was worth last year, what your cousin's, neighbor's, dog's, friends said, what money we could do with, what we make out of it. The hard truth is, when you talk about pricing, the market doesn't have emotions, doesn't care about our feelings or opinions. It's kind of cold that way. It only cares what someone will pay for that specific piece of property compared to everything else that's around it. And that can be a bummer, but that also can work to your advantage. See, since the market doesn't show favoritism, if you understand how it works, you have a leg up on everyone else who's bringing a ton of emotion to the market. You can end up selling your house quickly, netting you what you hope to get or somewhere close to that, and getting it off the market without having it sit there. The truth is, pricing is about competing. You're competing with every other house in your neighborhood. The house with the most value wins. So you have to ask, do I want to be positioned as the house with the best value, or am I okay with the fifth best value as long as the number looks like what I want it to look like? Like, I get the logic. I'll be the fifth best house and the other four will sell. The problem is other houses come to market. And when they come to market, they may bump you out of the way. And you're always competing against every other house. So what you want to do is have the most value compared to what's for sale in your neighborhood. That's how you win. That's how you become the house that comes off the market the earliest. And this isn't anyone trying to be cruel or uncaring. It's just the way the market works, right? And what I would want for you is you to be sober-minded when you go in, strategically thinking so that you win, so that you get the knockout. One of the most helpful tools that I found that I use is called Supply by Price. And what this does, it's a data sheet that shows you in a specific community like Colorado Springs at a specific price point, 5 to 600,000, 700 to 800,000, how many homes sold in the last month against the inventory. And this gives us a really strong indication of what kind of market it's at, seller's market, buyer's market, or balanced market, so we know how aggressive we need to be in our pricing. A seller's market means that there's low inventory and demand is high, so sellers can ask for, and expect less in the way of concessions. Think like 2020. A buyer's market means inventory is high and demand is low, so buyers can offer low prices and expect more concessions. Think like 2008. And a balanced market is when the supply and the demand are kind of equal, meaning both sides need to be somewhat flexible and negotiable, and no one's going to get a screaming deal one way or the other. If you're interested in the supply by price for Colorado Springs, I can walk you through what the latest data the last week, 2 weeks show us and kind of talk about what that means. Now, if you're serious about selling your house as quickly as possible, for the highest price possible, with as much peace as possible, you need to get absolute clarity about the true value of your home so you know what to price it at. Now, a good agent will tell you the truth about what your home is worth compared to the other homes that you're competing against. And remember, it's 100% a competition. A good agent will never ask you what you want to price it at and then just go with that. Anyone who does that is failing you as a professional. You're hiring and paying for professional counsel, professional insight, professional information, and don't settle for anything less than that. Anyone who will do whatever it takes to get the listing is not the agent you want to work with. You want to work with an agent who's looking to sell, not list. Think about hiring a real estate agent like going to physical therapy. Do you want a physical therapist who is just going to nod their head and go along with what you want? Or one who says, listen, I know it leads to success. I'm patiently going to talk with you and I'm going to help you move towards success. The multiple times I've gone through physical therapy, and I mean multiple times, I've had surgeries on both of my knees, on my shoulders, I think 3 on one on the other, on a hip. If my physical therapist had let me negotiate with him, I wouldn't have been healed. I would still be carrying a lot of those injuries with me. I needed someone who would tell me the truth. I needed someone who, while not being a dictator and not being rude, would say, hey, this is what it's going to take. And you need that same thing when you're selling your house. You need someone who's going to be honest with you about a right price to get your house sold in a right amount of time so you're not stressed out and you're not paying for it longer than that. And so I want to encourage you, if someone doesn't have the courage to work with you on price, you probably shouldn't be working with them in the first place. So here's the question: why does pricing right from the start matter so much? Is there data that indicates that? One of the biggest strategic blunders that sellers and agents make is missing what we call the golden hour. If you've ever been in first responder type territory or emergency stuff, the golden hour is the first 60 minutes after a traumatic event, a severe event, heart attack, stroke, accident, where getting medical attention and care gives you the highest rate of survivability and recovery. And real estate actually has a golden hour as well. Here's some data for you that may be helpful. Listing within 1% of the ultimate sale price offers a 50% chance of a contract within the first 14 days. That's a 1 in 2 shot of selling right away. And homes that get a contract in the first week close at 99% of asking. That's the golden hour. That's where you want to be because that's where you have the most value. To win at selling, you have to price strategically. You need that golden hour time. So thinking strategically means you know what to look at, what data to read. I can share with you that there's all kinds of data points in the first 7 to 10 days of a new price that tell us exactly what's going on. Priced right, overpriced, good photos, bad photos. What is it? No emotion, right? It's just saying, hey, this is what the eyes, the feet, the gut, and the heart of other people are telling us about the price of this house, what we need to do to get a closed deal as quickly as we can. Now, for those of you that say, why not list it high and let's just see? Besides losing money, besides being on the market longer than you want, there's this idea of appraisal. See, unless someone's coming in with a full cash offer, if your house is overpriced, when the appraisal comes in, you're either going to lose the deal or have to lower the price, or the person's going to have to be willing to pay the difference, which most aren't. What I've seen in the market is sometimes people will say, hey, we'll pay whatever you're asking. And then we know that when the appraisal comes in, you'll have to lower your price, believing that maybe you'll be so far into the process that you'll say, well, I guess we just have to accept this $15,000, $20,000 deduction. And so when you're pricing your home, you want to think about the appraisal because the appraisal is going to impact you along the way. And so consider that. Now, when it comes to price reductions, here's the truth. The first cut's the deepest, man, just like that song said. If an agent struggles to tell you something, here's what it's going to be, that a $3,000 price reduction probably isn't going to do anything to get your house sold. I get that a lot of us don't have a ton of equity where we can cut it by huge amounts. I'm in that position as well. But here's the deal. When you were looking for a home, you weren't looking in $3,000 increments, right? $5,000 increments. Most people look in $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 increments. And so here's what that means practically. If you have your house priced at $595 and you reduce it to $592, you probably didn't get any new attention. Nobody was waiting for a $3,000 reduction before they offered on your house. People go see houses that are close and they make offers based on the fact that they can negotiate. people go to see houses that are close because they know that they can negotiate. 595 to 592 doesn't put you in front of a new group of buyers. 595 to 575 does. I know that can be a cut. But when thinking about price reductions, think one bold move over death by 1,000 cuts. How do I get my house in front of more buyers right now? Remember, the longer your house sits on the market, the less you're going to get for it. So get the price as right as you can so it sells as quickly as it can and you get as much for it as you can. A large one-time reduction will move the needle faster and better than multiple smaller reductions. And something to consider when considering a large price reduction, there is a thought in real estate that a house will never sell for less than it's worth. The thinking is if you lower it if you lower it below the actual value, the market will bring up multiple offers and bring you to it. The trick is to be patient. So if you say, hey, I'm putting it at 575 and it's worth 580, most people would say it's probably going to end up getting at 580, 582, somewhere in there. You can, right? You can put it on there for a higher price, but it may end up costing you days on market, which is going to cost you money in the end. And lowering it may put you in a bidding war, which helps you get slightly above market in the end as well. So here's what I want to offer to you. Go ahead and reach out to me if you're looking to sell. If you want help selling your house as quickly as possible, for as much money as possible, with as much peace as possible, that's something that I can help you with. Or if your house has already been on the market and you've missed the golden hour, I can help you figure out how we can reposition it so you can have a new pricing strategy that gets you a ton of attention as quickly as possible. I also have a strategy to help prevent buyers from trying to renegotiate with you after the offer is actually made, protecting your value and protecting your yes. My process is really straightforward. You and I, we're going to sit down and I'm going to hear about your motivation. What do you need and why do you need that? We're going to do a walkthrough of your house where I actually see what's valuable, what do I not know, what can I not see, and what are the things I do see that you may be able to take care of or that may take away from value as well. We want to be honest about value. And then after we do that, I'll go away for a couple days and I'll do some research. I'll look at the comparables in your neighborhood and I'll get a true value for your house and come to you and just say, hey, here's the range and here's why I think this is it. And then you get to decide how aggressive, how strategic do you want to be competing against those other houses in your market. Maybe for you, you know what, I'm okay with sitting on the market for 2 or 3 months. I can handle that. Maybe you're in a different situation and you go, listen, I need this sold as quickly as possible. I have other things going on in my life and I need to know what the outcome of this thing is going to be. I can help you with that. And I'll be honest with you. If I'm the person that says, hey, I just don't think that price is matching the market, I'll tell you that. And then you can decide, hey, am I going to lean towards, what I'm hearing, or am I really stuck on this price and I want it? And if that's the case, I'm not going to take a listing I can't sell. I'll help you in any way that I can, but I'll probably go ahead and tell you, hey, that's not going to be me, because I care more about being honest and getting your house sold than I do just having a listing. So, man, I'd love to hear from you. I'll drop my stuff in the comments. You can look me up on michaelgrayproperties.com. I'm on Facebook as well and Instagram. Would love to talk with you if you're looking to sell in the Colorado Springs area. I especially love North Springs. I live up in Glen Eagle, so I love anything north of Briargate up into Monument. It's my favorite place to sell. If that's you, I tour those homes every week, so I can tell you what's on the market, what value is there. I can help you with that. But I also work with a whole team of people, and we sell everywhere from Pueblo West, Colorado Springs, up into the Castle Rock area. If I can't help you, I know someone who can. So hopefully this helps you figure out how to price your home right so you can get that thing sold and you can get on with the next thing.